Thank you for watching the World Community Magazine's Hour of Power Live on Facebook with your hosts Edward McQueen and April Garner.
Good evening to all of our viewers. Oh man, it's good. Oh, April, how you doing?
I'm great today. How are you doing?
Good. Guess what? It's politics time. Okay.
It's election time.
Yeah, I like to call it politics. I'm trying to stay as neutral as I can.
Just say elections.
Yeah, okay. And tomorrow's this big day.
Yes, it is.
Grassroots elections. Okay. It doesn't get any lower than that. When I say lower,
Local
I mean
elections.
really
Local.
Yeah, local. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Which is the most important of all to me.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Most important of all. You're really reaching the people. So anyway, to get us started today, we've got three of our prospective or our candidates who would like to articulate their platform for being elected tomorrow, Tuesday, in the Conway City Council, and hopefully we can engage them with our people who are viewing us today, and asking everybody to send your comments in. We've got an hour to do this, so this is your opportunity. All your issues, not all of them, but some of the issues that you want to be addressed. See what the candidates can do. Anyway, we're starting with our three candidates that have elected to. And this is a paid political broadcast, by the way. Okay, so let everybody know that we're not being selective for anybody. We've already had two on last week, I believe.
Within the past 2 weeks.
In the past 2 weeks, yeah. So we have with us today Mr. Audrey Benton, candidate, Mr. Danny Hardy, candidate, and Ms. Beth Helms. Three candidates vying for seven seats, I believe, opening on the Conway City Council. And April, let's do it. Let's.
Well, I know you said you were going to preface the show by letting everybody know about the number of eligible voters and the precincts, and then we'll get into the candidate platform. Right.
Yeah, and I can do this by saying that there are 14,000 people eligible to vote in tomorrow's election. Okay, and that will run as usual from 7 a.m. to 7 p.m. You got 3 seats on the city council out of 7. 3 seats on the city council will be on the election to be decided tomorrow, but you have 7 people running actually. Only some restrictions are that only city residents can cast ballots, and you got to have a voter ID. And the precincts in question in the polling place, I'm going to give you some locations for the polling place, and then we'll start with our candidates. The precincts and the polling place are East Conway, Horry County Library, 4 Mile, Bethany Bible Chapel, Homewood Elementary School, Jamestown, South Conway High School, Elementary School, South Conway Elementary School, Maple Baptist Church, North Conway 1, Mary Thompson Center at Collins Park, North Conway 2, Conway Elementary School, and Race Path 1. The Senior Center at the Conway Recreation Department. Race Path 2 is Whittemore Park Middle School. Red Hill 1 is Coastal Carolina and Wild Wing. Christ the Servant Lutheran Church in West Conway and Horry County Courthouse. So there you have it. We're going to let's do it. Let's get this rolling, and so we can give our audience opportunity to send in comments. Please do so after our candidates will give a small bio of themselves.
All right. So what I'm going to do is bring on each of our candidates, and we'll allow them to introduce themselves. And so I typically do things in alphabetical order, but I'm going to say ladies first tonight. So I'm going to bring on Beth Helms. How are you, Beth?
Good. How about you?
I'm doing well. Okay.
They wanted to download some software.
Okay, all right. Well, I'll go.
There we go.
You ready? You good now? Okay, all right.
How you doing?
I'm great today, and I'm going to bring on Autry Benton.
Hello.
All right, and then Danny Hardy. How are you all this evening?
I'm fine, April and Edward. How are you tonight?
Very well, very well. Good to have you all on.
All right, so want to give you all an opportunity, first of all, to introduce yourselves to our viewing audience. And, I think that it's really important as our viewers, take a look at the show tonight and take in the information that we're disseminating. I think it's important for them to understand that when it's election time, and even, weeks, days, months, or whatever prior to casting your vote, it's really important for you to understand the platforms of everyone who's running, regardless of, their party affiliation or whatever, because when you're trying to make an informed vote, you do that based on knowing everything there is to know about the candidate's platform, their history of support of certain issues and topics. And if you kind of put yourself in a tunnel, so to say, and if you don't really understand who you're voting for or why, it can sometimes lead to making the wrong choices, but also, you don't understand what the other candidates are all about. And when that happens, typically people are sometimes feeling like they're misled or uninformed or misinformed or whatever. So our objective tonight is to make sure that we bring everyone to this platform who wants to let our local community know who they are and what their platforms are all about. And so that's why we have 3 more candidates tonight. Of course, we're on the eve of the election. And as Brother Edward said, in the past 2 weeks, we've had Julie Hardwick and also Amanda Butler. So you're hearing from a lot of newbies in the race, and that's a good thing. And we want to start by just having you introduce yourselves and tell a little bit about who you are, where you're from, before we actually start to get into your platform. So Beth, why don't you begin?
All right, my name is Beth Helms. I'm from Conway. I went to Conway High School, graduated in '86. So I just had my 35th high school reunion Saturday. So I'm feeling a little bit old, and I graduated from Clemson University. Was a fee appraiser with E.F. Hudson Associates for 20 years, but now I work for Horry County Assessor's Office as a commercial real estate appraiser.
All right. Autry?
Yes. First of all, I'd like to say thank y'all for having me on and allowing us this platform with the World Community Magazine and the community. This means a lot. Thank you for the invite. I am Autry Benton. I'm a lifelong resident of the Conway area. Grew up in the Maple community. Was educated at Homewood Elementary School, Whittemore Park Middle School, Conway High School, and went on to serve in the United States Marine Corps. Honorable discharge, come back and joined the family concrete construction business, learned it from the ground up, wear boots every day, work hard. I've been married for 23 years to my wife, Amanda. We have 4 kids. My oldest son is a youth pastor in Knoxville, Tennessee, just recently married, have a freshman in college, senior high school at Conway High School, and a 10-year-old at Conway Elementary School. I go to Langston Baptist Church. That's a little bit about my history, and I love cycling and all things Clemson.
All right. And Danny?
Yes, well, thank you for having us tonight. My name's Danny Hardy. I've said that about 1,000 times in the last 2 months. I'm lifelong resident of Conway. Went to schools here, the elementary. Went to Whittemore for junior high, the old Conway High School. Was one of the last classes to attend there. Coastal and Tech. My dad was an electrician. I wanted to do everything but be an electrician. And now I've owned Hardy Electric for a little over 40 years. I've actually got my real estate license. Thought I'd, try something a little different. But been married 25 years, got 3 great kids, 3 grandkids, nice son-in-law. Enjoy my community, go to Jamestown Baptist Church, live on the south side of Conway, and just love Conway and wanted to be a part of city council and the decisions.
Awesome. And that was a really good segue into the question that I have first and foremost, which is, why did you all decide to run for Conway City Council? It sounds like you all have very deep roots in the Conway community, and I think it would be easy to sit back in your favorite armchair and talk about some of the things that should be done from a political standpoint. But now that you're in the race and you've done your homework on all of the things that need to be done from a city council standpoint, what made you decide, yes, I want to throw my name in the hat, or my hat in the ring, and run for city council? So let's start with Autry.
I said in one of the other platforms we had all of the candidates on. I think the one thing you would find about all of us true is we all love Conway. Some of the candidates I know personally and some I don't, but everything I know about the people I know personally and who is running with me love Conway just as I do. Particularly why I got involved in the race is because I love Conway. And with all humility, I really believe that I can lead our city as a councilman. I feel like I can add a lot in leadership. I'm not a one hot topic running candidate. A councilman has to be well versed on many issues and situations and different issues. But I feel that I can do that. I think with my experience in serving my country, I wanted to serve it through my community, the local level, and through having a business experience, I can bring that leadership as well. That's a big, broad answer, and I could break that down a little further, but that's the basics. I with all humility, feel that I can lead our city as a councilman and would be excited to do it.
Okay, Beth, same question.
Jean Timms approached me about a female taking her spot since she's retiring after 18 years, and I started thinking about it, and I thought, why not? I love Conway. I've coached. I've lived here. I was a flood victim, and that was a big reason why I decided I would do it. I flooded out my house. Conway Strong is what I lived for 4 or 5 months. I felt like that the community came to me, served me when I was in need and in a bad spot, and I wanted to give back. And I've always coached. I've always done something for Conway, and I'm not coaching currently, so I kind of felt like this might be the path I wanted to take. I guess my platform really is team. Together, everybody achieves more, and I just feel like I could be a good asset to the county.
Okay, very good. Danny.
Yes, ma'am. I'm a business owner, and naturally I have a business mind, and I kind of got the feeling that Conway is not as business friendly as they should be. It's tough to start a new business, and you don't need hidden charges. You don't need different things going on. And I don't feel like we have enough businesses south of 501. I really would rather, I'd like to see things grow. Conway is a big area, excuse me, a lot bigger than people realize. And I was also for equal representation. I'd love to see each community be represented. If this means in the future, districts, I don't know what that means, but I feel like everybody should have the same equal voice in the city of Conway. And Conway's good, and every candidate that's running is qualified. They all have a love for Conway, and naturally, I've got a little bit of age and experience on them. I hope that'll help me in the end. Raising kids and grandkids, I think, helps, and running a business. You have to plan your business for today, but you also have to plan it for tomorrow. And someday I would love for my grandkids to know that I was a part of Conway and that they would be proud of it.
Okay. So for our viewers, of course, you've learned a little bit about each of the candidates who are running for city council, who are featured on the show tonight. And Brother Edward, if you don't have a question to lead into, I can certainly continue with the questions that I have.
Yeah, I do have something that really struck me, and this is the second time it struck me from, especially from Beth, regarding flooding. Even though you're not going to be representative of surrounding jurisdictions, but the flooding impacts. That doesn't discriminate, right? So to be proactive in Conway regarding flood mitigation, what do you have anything, any kind of strategies that you would propose, or what you think we should be doing right now?
I've done some research on stormwater. I've done some research on trees and all the the FEMA buyouts and keeping them as open spaces. I think that would help. That chestnut thing they're going to build over there by Trinity, or they're talking about, will be a big deal for helping with flooding, at least in my area. I know that for sure. But cleaning out some of the waterways or in the rivers and getting some of that stuff out, I really think would help. But that's state and federal money, but I definitely think that we definitely need some help with that.
Okay. Well, there was at the city council meeting today, there was one issue that came up about they're moving forward with a master plan for was that sewage right upgrade?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Does that have anything to do with any flood mitigation or and so forth?
I think they're just trying to upgrade the sewage system, but I'm not real sure about that. I hadn't been privy to the master plan.
May I address that, Edward?
Yes.
Yes. I think that the grant they just received, the city of Conway received a grant for the sewage upgrade. I think that's to enhance the overall sewage in case of a major flood like we had, to encapsulate it and just make the structures better. So it would help this whole sewage system on a major catastrophe storm like we had.
Right.
And
right.
may I address the issue of flooding?
Yeah, sure.
Overall, I'm sorry.
You're finished, right, Beth?
Yeah, that's fine.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah. On flooding, as a candidate and as a councilman, I think the thing that's really important for me is, and I've said this is kind of my slogan, is don't make a promise you can't keep. It's easy for politicians this time of year to talk and make a lot of promises, but the fact of the matter, it's really important to me that if I tell the community I'm going to do something, it's really important. And looking at the issue of flooding, yes, it's a real problem. Our community has been affected majorly twice with this, Matthew and Florence, devastating. I mean, good people like my neighbor, Miss Beth, was flooded, as many residents of Conway's were. But what can we really do? This is a major problem. Conway doesn't have the money or the resources to fix the big problem. And I think if I'm elected as a city councilman, the best thing I can do for the city of Conway is we can be an advocate, a loud advocate, a very nagging advocate with the county, with the state, with the federal. We need help in Conway. We need help in Conway, with resources, with money. I am a big proponent of the diversion canal, which the Corps of Engineers did a study themselves starting back in 1941. 1953, and then again after Hurricane Matthew in 2009. And basically, to sum it up, it's a long report, but they were going to do a diversion canal from the Waccamaw River going into Little River, which spans a 6-mile area. And think about it, if we had that diversion canal in with Florence, it would have diverted all that water from North Carolina before it came through the city of Conway and devastated us. And it's a long report, and I encourage everyone to go read it. And at the end, they weighed construction costs versus how much they could buy out dear people like our community when that happened. So if I'm elected, I'm going to be pushing that to do that. I think everything we can do at the local level as far as, mitigation and helping things. But let's be real honest, a flood like we got in Florence, when that water got to Conway, all we're doing is fighting water. We need a bigger plan to solve those things. And I encourage us to do that. I think we need to clean our waterways. I think we need to clean Crabtree, seeking grants and stuff. But we got to be real honest with ourselves. Does Conway have the money to do that? Not like it needs to be done. So a city councilman needs to be a loud advocate voice trying to get money and help from county, from state, and federal. And I promise you I'll do that.
Danny, do you have any comments about the flooding?
Yes, ma'am. And I kind of agree with Autry on the flooding quite a bit, that we're affected by the flood, and we have different things that we can do to minimize the damage. But until we divert the Waccamaw, That's what causes the flooding. So many people think that we're being flooded right here in Conway. We're not. We're getting the water. There's 5 rivers dumping into Winyall Bay, and you can't put 5 gallons of water in a 1 gallon bucket. Now, we can do that. There's ways to divert water. We need more trees to, an oak tree, I think, will soak up about 1,000 gallons of water a day. And all of these empty spots that we have, all these FEMA buyouts that we're paying Conway employees to cut the grass and take care of, let's let them grow. Let's plant trees on them. And that's not going to eliminate the flood by no means, but we do have ways to minimize the damage. And I also agree, we need to be a big spokesperson. We need to let North Carolina, South Carolina, our congressmen, everybody know how we feel. There's nothing we can do to stop that flood but speak up and really, petition the governments to help us with it and help divert that, the Walkmall.
I agree with that, but the watersheds and the Crabtree Swamp have a little bit to do with that too. It's not all about the rivers. So I agree with y'all wholeheartedly about flooding and the rivers, but there is Crabtree Swamp and the watershed districts that we need to worry about those two.
All right. So obviously flooding is probably one of the hot topic issues in Conway and surrounding areas that will remain a hot topic issue until there is a viable solution. And we've talked about solutions on a number of shows prior to this one with not only our city council candidates, but also with special guests who've come on, such as Kevin Mishu and others, to just talk about what's going on, for example, in the Bucksport community. And Conway sort of feels like Bucksport is an extension of us, even though we understand that Bucksport is more of a county council type of jurisdiction than city council. But, those types of issues as far as flooding here to stay, it's always good to understand what your positions are and what you believe a part of the solutions may be. But there are also some other issues in the city of Conway that kind of ring the bell all the time as far as being things that we're constantly fighting. So I know that one thing that Danny talked about was the fact that, business needs to grow, especially south of 501. And but business in general in Conway, there are, so many vacant parcels and, outlets that are in downtown Conway. And even though there seems to be some progress, it doesn't seem to be fast enough. So as a city council representative, what do you all propose to do to help business growth, and in particular, to help with minority business growth in the area? And we'll start with Danny.
Well, I think there's grants and ways that we can help. It's like I was saying, actually right now I rent some warehouses for my business, and I've tried to buy a building in Conway not too long ago. It was going to cost me more to upfit that building to meet codes. The landscaping fee was ridiculous. The landscaping fee, the starting fee, the permit fees, everything it was going to take for me to buy that building and upfit it for me to use for my business to pay taxes on was astronomical. And I didn't feel that was business friendly. I think that those things are good to do, but we can give business owners a chance to move into a business and then meet that criteria. Not to have, when you start a small business, it takes all you have to start that small business, or it does, in my opinion. I think we can help people. I don't think we need to buy so many properties and tear them down. I think we can use them for businesses. We need to help restaurant owners. And the biggest thing is we need to shop and buy local. That's a very big thing, is I think we need to tell Conway residents to shop in Conway. And we have great stores, great restaurants, great people. I think that's a big plus.
Absolutely.
Beth?
I think that we aren't business friendly. I think startup costs, like Danny said, are hard. We don't make it easy when you go to get a permit. I just don't think we're business friendly. I just think that we need to be more helpful in promoting and getting new businesses to our area. I don't know, like Danny said, maybe when your startup fees are high, or you have to meet so many criteria for beautification, it is hard for a small businessman to start a new business in Conway. I just think that we need to try to be a little more helpful, and the loopholes, maybe get them a little bit bigger, so maybe financially people can afford to start a new business.
And Autry.
I fully agree. I do not feel that our city is business friendly right now at all. I've spent a good time talking to the business community as a business owner and what I've experienced. And we're not very friendly business. And our businesses are not happy with the way they've been talked to and treated and handled in the city lately. I encourage anyone to take a poll or randomly and see how people feel. And I said, I encourage all of your listeners to go back and go on the City of Conway's Chamber's website and view the Power Breakfast. I spoke extensively about business at that meeting, and I encourage the listeners to go listen to that. But, you know, it starts with how city government and staff speak to people when they want to start a business in the city, you know, how they're addressed, how they come off. It starts right there. If people are moving to the area, trying to develop business and start a business in the city, how you're met and how you're talked to is so important. I think no matter where you live, work, or play within our city limits, it should be equal for anybody in any level at any area in the city. I think our city has been heavily biased towards the downtown. Downtown is beautiful. It's great what we've done there, but Conway has a bigger footprint than just downtown. We need to give equal tax incentives. We need to give equal treatment, and our Chamber of Commerce does a great job, you know, trying to develop that. But I think our city government and I think our city staff have to be fair when they're given, trying to help anybody wherever they like within our city limits to start a business. And as far as helping minorities, I think it can start by our city government and staff pointing them to people and organizations that can help them with grants. If they come and they've got interest starting a business in the city, point them to the Chamber of Commerce, point them to people that can help them get grants, bankers locally or organizations that could help them. You know, be business friendly. You know, those are easy words to talk during political time, but where the boots and the rubber meets the ground, that's where the city officials and the elected officials have to do their jobs. You know, and this time of year is easy, but we'll see what happens after we're in office. You know, are we going to make changes to make it better for businesses to start? Hey, I live it every day. I'm a business owner in the city, and I don't like the way we've been handled always.
Okay. Well, I know that we're going to, you know, kind of move on to issues other than, you know, economic and flood issues. And I know that Autry said it, that he's not a one topic or hot topic type of candidate, but I'm sure that as you all did your homework and you've been following city council and the developments in Conway, there's been at least one issue that has kind of been a thorn on your side as far as what you feel has or has not been done to eliminate that issue or to alleviate that issue. So if you had to think of one thing that even Conway City Council is currently working on that's a major issue for Conway, what is the one issue you would like to tackle if you're elected? And how do you think you can be more of an asset in terms of creating a solution for that problem? So let's start with Beth.
Well, I believe we need a woman on council. Over 50% of our population is female, so we need better representation on council. I feel like I could be a strong voice on council. I'm got a good real estate background. I know about development. I know about infrastructure. I just feel like that, you know, there's not enough women on council. But another hot topic, I think, is Whitmore Park Elementary School. I mean, it's the elephant in the room. I'm new on the conversation, but it definitely is an emotional topic that I think that we need to actually listen to the citizens and hear what they want to do. And I know economically we have to weigh the pros and the cons, but at the end of the day, it's an emotional topic. It was for me at the community meeting, and I think it's something that it needs to be discussed before a big, broad statement comes down from city council about tearing it down or whatever they're going to do. I just feel like that I can be a strong voice for what the community actually feels like they need.
Okay. Audrey?
To me, like I say, not a one hot topic. I think for me, I think it goes back to the core of the person. To me, is if elected, Lord willing, I want the people to believe in what I say. If I say something, or if I vote or I speak, I think what we say should mean something in our community. And I think to go tell off what Beth said is with the Whittemore issue. I went to the meeting, and I think I'm gonna speak very direct on that issue. In thinking about it and surveying the issue. I think a start for the city of Conway, first of all, in my opinion, is they owe the community an apology. In my opinion, they owe the community an apology. I think the city of Conway received the property in hopes of doing a good thing, but I think they did a lot of talking before they did their homework, what they could do, and they made a lot of promises to the community that they could not keep. And just like when I mess up, the thing Autry Bent needs to do is admit when he's wrong and offer an apology. And I think that's the first thing that I think the city government needs to do is they need to admit they were wrong. They said some stuff and admit their words. They said a lot of words. It was read back to them in the community meeting. Their words they said to the community that hasn't been done. So it starts with an apology. And I think second, it starts with, I'm going to be very honest, I think that the speakers on behalf of the city were arrogant and cold the way they talked to the residents, in my opinion. I'm going to call it just like I see it. It came off very cold and very arrogant. That's what I felt sitting in the back of the room. And number three is I think that sometimes the best thing is just stop and pause. Don't tear the building down until we know what to do. And I'm going to be honest about this too. I haven't done enough research or homework to know what the best thing to do is, but sometimes not doing anything, getting all the facts and seeing what you can do with a humble, gentle spirit is a good start. So to me, being a person of integrity, not speaking unless you know you can do something. And that's happened with that issue at Whittemore. It's happened with the tennis center in Conway. Be people of your word.
And Danny?
Well, I agree with Beth and Autry on everything they said. To me, there is not one big hot topic, but mine is development. We got to have development. We got to have construction. We've got to grow. I mean, that's inevitable. But I think it needs to be regulated and maintained. The other night the other afternoon at the Whittemore meeting, one of the ladies, part of the community, made a statement. And when she made it, it kind of caught me and hit me, something I had never thought about before. When somebody builds a nice house beside you and they're getting top dollar for this house, you expect everybody to be happy, like, oh, great, this is going to raise the price of my house. My house is worth more now. I'm ready to sell. But if you don't want to sell, if that's your home, that's your community, you don't want to live, all of a sudden you're paying higher property taxes. And I got a feeling from that meeting the other day that there's an agenda for that Whittemore section. And I just read in the paper Thursday, I believe it was, that the county is planning on building another Whittemore middle school on Culture Road, I believe it is, or Mill Pond. But anyway, they're planning on building another school. And that doesn't make any sense to me. It seems to me, I mean, there's got to be a good solution. I've been talking with Miss Adamson and Mr. Floyd, Dr. Floyd, and I understand the city. Coming from a businessman, I understand the city. But coming from a community aspect, they were told a bunch of things. There's got to be a good solution there. And in all honesty, if I get elected to city council, I hope that's one issue that's decided before I take office. But
at least you're honest about it.
I told someone the other day, I hope if I do get elected, there are no issues on the table when I come in. But I believe development. My thing is, I want to see people live here. But when we let people move in and we build communities and it hurts the surrounding communities and the people that are already living here, the people that have made up Conway, that's not right. That, you know, the people here deserve just as much respect as the people moving into Conway. And I would like to see it. And the Whittemore Middle School and that area, that's a big topic. I think Horry County really pulled a fast one on the city of Conway, if you want my opinion on it. I think they dumped all their problems for $1 right on the city of Conway.
Well, you know, that we can look at that as an opportunity, I believe, because that whole Whittemore community, or the whole, all that enclave, or buildings, you might want to say, in terms of legacy, starts from Root Street. Root Street encompasses it on one side and Maple Street on the other. And then you have, I've got the other street, Marion Street, I believe. But all that, that was the legacy right there. Okay. And that's what the community is seeking, to retain all of that. I don't think that's, I don't know if that's, you can say they're asking too much, but it's not asking a lot. All they're asking is for preservation of the legacy. And I think when developers, if the city looks at it from a revenue perspective and says that sees an opportunity for developers to come in and contribute money to the city, you know, when they weigh everything, I think that it needs to be looked at again by saying that, oh, look, just like Danny just said, that you have a community that's already here, and you want them now to give up everything for developers, so to speak. I know it means revenue for the city, but I think that warrants new discussions, and very strong discussions, I believe. And the city, my perspective, city should look at the value of preserving a legacy that has been going on since 1870.
Edward, may I add one more thought?
Yes.
You know, and one thing that really stuck out to me from the community meeting, I think is important. I think one of the community people spoke of, and it's important, is and it really hit me when I leaving the meeting thinking about it is, you know, if there's a historical property in downtown Conway, in the historical district, let's say, that's important to a lot of people. But what's important in the Whittemore community and there, that's important to a lot of people too. And that's where I say what's important should be important to all of us, no matter where it's in the city. It's, you know, and we should fight for it just as hard. I mean, let's be honest. If it was something happened, I think someone said to City Hall, we would fight tooth and nail for it. I mean, and that the Whittemore Elementary is just as important to a lot of people, and we need to view it that way. And I think that's important. You know, for me, you know, Danny was talking about Whittemore Middle getting ready to be moved. I went to middle school there, so I feel the thought like, man, they're moving my school where I went to school. So I feel that, even though I didn't go to elementary school, to the middle school, and I even think when the middle school leave, what damage that's going to do going from that location to the other. Which I know there again, what can the city accomplish? That's the Horry County Schools decision, not ours. But decisions like that do affect the community, and if we can make a difference, we should. But equal.
Yeah, right. It's incumbent upon the city to assist the existing community that's there, even though that entity, the Whittemore Park Middle School, it comes under the county jurisdiction, I believe. But if the city of Conway has any influence at all with the county, I think that they should be on the citizen side in terms of keeping Whittemore Park School as you know, turn it over to the existing community. There are organizations there that could have this, you know, for that jurisdiction to come under. Okay, the city bought it for $1. Sell it to that organization for $1.
I 100% agree with that. I think that the city might need to look at that as a alternative, is to sell Whittemore for $1 and maybe they might have a better plan. You know, they said, Larry Biddle said something about private business might do better with it than the city. That might not be the best interest, but we need to see how all the pieces fit together, because I really think that there's a better idea out there than what we're doing right now. I think, like Ultra said, we need to pause. We don't need to make sweeping decisions on emotions, but we need to pause, take a breath, and look at all the pieces and see how they fit together. I think there's a better solution than what we're doing right this second.
I agree.
Yeah, and one person brought the private industry partnership. Well, nobody. I don't think anybody can do it better than a community organization partnering with a private firm or somebody who's going to benefit as much as that community organization is going to benefit, other than the city having it, because the city doesn't have that kind of expertise. I don't think no government keeps that kind of expertise on staff. So yeah, that should be looked at. That's just my opinion on that.
Well, thought, going back to responsibility there again, I think the city of Conway has to take some responsibility. And I think it was brought up in the meeting very well. The damage was done to the building when they received it. So not doing your homework, not being educated before you talk to the public, that's city governments. And as a city councilman, I'm going to do my job to be well educated, well informed before I'm making decisions and before words are coming out of my mouth. And I think a person, I'll ask a lot of questions. I'll seek a lot of counsel. The Bible says there's wisdom in a multitude of counselors. And I think that's important. I think, city leaders should do that. Get in the community, ask questions, be well informed before you make a decision.
Mm-hmm. In light of the conversation we're having, and it sounds like to me that we're, talking about mainly, as Autry said, being informed, but also working collaboratively to make sure that what takes place is in the best interest of not only the community at large, but also the community that holds the legacy. And so this Whittemore issue, it is divisive. Whether or not we want to put that on the table, the truth of the matter is that it is a very divisive issue, because at this point we have a city council that's entrusted with doing what's best for that particular property and that particular community. And it appears that the report card is out that basically has not happened. Not sure if it ever will happen. And we have, 3 candidates here who are saying that, there are some things that could possibly have could be done better or should have been done better in order to get to the point where, we're all working as a community to make sure that this particular piece of our history is preserved and in the right way. So now that we know that this issue is on the table, there are entities that are working towards a solution, holding City of Conway Council to the fire. What are some things, and I know this is probably off the script, but this is a good question, I feel, for the 3 of you. What would you do, each individually, what would you do to bridge those gaps in the community to make sure that the community understands that you're working for City of Conway in its entirety versus one party over another, one community over another, because that's what you're supposed to do as City of Conway. But in particularly when it comes down to, the scope of this impact on the African-American community, what do you think are some of the things you can do to bridge the gap in these communities so that we can all work together in a better way? And I'll take whoever wants to start with that.
I'd like to take it if you don't mind.
Mm-hmm.
I think just kind of like I addressed earlier with the Whittemore issue, I think it starts with, talk is cheap. What do we do? I think it starts, number one, with acknowledgement. City of Conway had the facts. They purchased the project. They received the property with the damage. They didn't do their homework. They need to acknowledge that. They didn't do their homework before they spoke to the public, before they told the public what they could do. And number 2, an apology. Autry Benton is not a perfect man. I mess up. When I mess up, you apologize. City government needs to apologize to the community. Number 3, we need to pause on this issue. And then with humility amongst government and the community, we need to sit down at the table together and find solutions.
I'll go next. I think that you're 100% right. I think we should sell it to the Whittemore Park community for $1, just like they purchased it. I think that
both entities. Okay, the Whittemore Park Middle School.
Yes,
and-
sir. I think
and
the whole,
Whittemore
the
Elementary
whole
School.
neighborhood, like you were saying, the whole block or
Yeah.
however many blocks. I think they should sell it to them. I think they could get more done. I think Whittemore Park would be better served. The area would be better served if it was sold for $1. I think that would be the best interest of the community. I'm all about working. I'm all about listening, and I'm all about doing. My favorite thing to do is get in and work and listen and to try to be a part. So I think that the communication needs to be better. The communication at that meeting was terrible. The speakers were bad. You couldn't hear. I don't think all the questions got to be asked. I didn't feel like that meeting was a very positive situation. I felt bad. It brought tears to my eyes. It was a really moving, we all were there. It was a very moving meeting. I feel like that we need to pause. I think we need to find out what's the best interest. But I do think selling it for $1 would benefit Whittemore Park community, because I think they love it. They would do what they want. I mean, the Whittemore Park community would put more effort and love and heart. I mean, God loves us all.
Yeah, absolutely. It looks like Danny wants to concur.
Yeah, he's going to chime in.
Well,
Go ahead,
I'm
Danny.
just agreeing I'm agreeing with most of what everybody says, but I don't want to say anything wrong.
Right. Yeah.
I agree 100%. It needs to be for the community. 100%. Whatever we do with that building, Whittemore, that community was made a promise. The city made a mistake, plain and simple. They made a mistake, but that's not the end of the world. Let's don't dwell on that mistake. Let's make it
Absolutely.
right from this point on.
Right.
And I hope this comes out right, because sometimes my mouth says different things than my brain's thinking. I don't think selling it to a private enterprise, I think the people have a say in it. Just like us three are sitting here being asked questions by two, I think the leaders of a community have to address, city council. I think when you have the leaders of a certain area, the other night, that meeting was good. You got to hear everything everybody had to say,
Absolutely.
the concerns and everything, and everybody had a legitimate concern. But I think you need a group of responsible people to express the community's vocals, so you're not being blasted all at once. Because I did hear some people kind of rant and rave that really didn't make any sense on both parts. But I feel like if we sell it, and this is what worries me, I'm not really saying I'm against it. What worries me, if we do sell it to a private enterprise and things go bad, things go south, how do we keep them from selling it to a developer? If you take the city out of the picture, if you don't have somebody watching what's going on, you take it. And the reason I'm saying this, I told y'all I go to Jamestown Church. Well, right around the corner from Whittemore, we have a church there for sale. We cannot sell it because of city regulations.
What regulations?
Well, the way it's zoned, where it's built at. Back in the day, I think our church was built in 1953. The older church was built, the one on the corner of 9th and Mill Pond, or Granger, 9th and Granger. But now they're saying that it's zoned to be a church or to tear down and build houses. So here's a beautiful building with a big parking lot across the street, all of this. We've had 2 or 3 different offers to sell. We've had, I think, at least 3 legitimate offers to buy that building. But it would vary from the way it's looked at by the city just a little bit. So the city has turned it down. And that's not fair to us that we can take that money and use in our new church. And it's not fair to the new businesses and the new churches that are wanting that church. I agree we need a community center for Whittemore there. I agree with that wholeheartedly. Adult recreation, places for adults to go to, our kids to see
entrepreneurship.
Yes, I agree 100%. I just don't know if I agree to selling it to a private enterprise and then nobody can dictate what they do down the road.
I would say that if you had first right of refusal and you had like a 10 or 20-year period to do something, or the city would take it back for $1. I mean, I would think you have to put a finish line, or you have to put a drop dead date on that stipulation of selling it for $1. I wouldn't think that city would just, just haphazardly just let it go. But I would think that for $1, you got 10 years to do so and so, or the city will buy it back for $1. I do think they should get the first right of refusal to get it back.
Mm-hmm.
But
you
know, Mr. McQueen, as well as I do, you can't hire 5 guys in a truck to go in there and clean that building out.
Mm-hmm.
It's asbestos and lead, and that's going to cost a lot of money. And when somebody sees that cost up front, if they buy that building with knowing that cost, it would scare me what they would have in mind.
Absolutely. Well, I want to just kind of, pause everyone, since that's the word of the night. Pause everyone, because we really want to bring this back around to, the discussion at hand. That Whittemore discussion could go on and on for days, and it is a very important discussion for this community. But I definitely want to give all of the candidates a chance to answer at least one more question regarding their work on city council as it relates to Conway as a whole. And the one thing that we have not touched bases on yet is public safety. So I know that there's, we always have the law enforcement officials on our show to talk about their challenges with public safety. What are some of the things that you all propose to do as a member of city council to support our city of Conway law enforcement to make sure that our city is covered and safe in all of our communities? So anyone who wants to take that.
I'll go first. First of all, I'd like to say, I think both our chief, our fire, and of the police department, we have 2 very good chiefs there on both. I think they're doing a good job. I think they have a good staff. I think it is city council's job to make sure they can give them just as much funds and resources as they need to be in the community. And I think, a very practical thing is looking at the whole budget, see where we're at with the whole budget. Can we take money from this area? We have too much here. Can we put it into public safety and go there? And there again, it goes back to my whole philosophy. It doesn't matter where you live, run a business, or you play in the city. Everybody should get fair, equal treatment within the city limits. There shouldn't be 5 police cars just downtown and there's none in South Conway, say where Danny lives or whatever. Equal, fair treatment for where you live, where you run a business, or where you play in the city of Conway. To be equal, be fair, and give it the best resources you can, and listen. Be a good leader. Listens and see how we can help.
Mm-hmm.
Wow.
Either of you want to take up the public city question?
I think public safety is huge. I think it's one of the number one concerns everybody has. We need to maintain the level of public safety that every citizen feels part of the city, feels safe and secure. I think we're undermanned. I think we need some more. I think we have vacancies in the police department. I think we need to get those filled. I think the fire department has some vacancies. I think we don't have enough money allocated towards public safety. I do know that Tech has a great program that they're going and getting those guys through their academies. So when they finish with Tech, they can be hired straight on to the police department in Conway. I think that's a great idea. I think Tech's doing great things for Conway. So public safety, hey, it's big for me. So I know it's big for everybody.
All right.
And I agree. I think one of the biggest things, and if you'll ride around, especially like South Conway, the Jamestown race path area, we need more street lights. We definitely need more street lights in a lot of these subdivisions. Yeah. And I tell you, what was it, 3 months ago when we all come home and we opened our water bill and
oh my goodness, yes,
for street lights and sidewalks. I would not be opposed to that if everybody in all of Conway had the same street lights and everybody had the same thing, but we don't. I mean, plain and simple, we don't. But The police, we've got a great police force. I know a lot of them, and I think they do a good job. They're understaffed. I think all of our first responders, all the way down the line. I don't know a lot about the city budget, what we can afford to do, but we don't need to lose them. We don't need them to come here and train and work here and then move on to another place that pays them more. We need them to stay right here and be happy here. We need, I've been hearing a lot about litter, and it's tough to believe, but you know, when you drive down the street and it's badly littered, that's just attracting crime. That's all that's doing.
Absolutely.
We have a lot of abandoned houses. You know, why build a house in a flood zone when we have an abandoned house here? Let's tear it down and build a new house, or see if we can remodel that one. We just don't need all these places for, you know, drugs are bad, plain and simple. Drugs are bad.
Drugs are bad.
And we need to hit it head on. More stiffer sentences, and our police force, you know, is doing a great job. But Conway's big now. Conway's a big area.
Yeah, it's getting bigger. It's getting bigger.
And growing.
We got, you know, we don't show a lot of these comments on the side, but we're getting emails. At least I'm getting some emails. And one is that from an anonymous person that does not want to be called her name, said that somebody stated that need to get more people to shop in Conway. How can that be when the Conway Perimeter Road will divert traffic away from the downtown area?
Oh, that's a big thing. And I tell you something else, you know, we concentrate on Main Street, how beautiful it looks, and they've done a fantastic job. Main Street's our calling card. Mm-hmm. But I tell you one thing that ticks out, you know, you hear, hey, there's a Starbucks coming here. Hey, you hear a Krispy Kreme, man, you made my day. But then the next day there's LED lights and everywhere, and we've got a vape shop. I was upset about that. I really was. I could from Walmart on 501 to 9th Avenue, we have 7 vape shops.
That's right. Mm-hmm.
And I'm a big opponent of that, but we do good. I think we could do better. 378 Wright Boulevard, 701 South, 701 North, 501. They bring people into Conway. They deserve the same attention that Main Street does. And that's just my opinion.
Mm-hmm.
All right.
Well, Brother Edward, we are at the hour mark, and I think it's time for us to begin to wrap up this interview. It's been a wonderful interview, and we're going to give the candidates one last time to pretty much say why they deserve a seat on City Council. So since Danny spoke last, we'll go back to Beth and come around the clock, and then we'll wrap it up for the evening. So Beth, why should they elect you?
My motto or my platform's been team Beth, team Conway. Together, everybody achieves more. I just feel like that. My quote is, I'm going to say his name wrong because I'm a good old Horry County girl, but Paulo Coelho. It says the world is changed by your example, not by your opinion. I just think that you need to show love. We just got to love people. I think that our mouths get away from us. I think that we just need to show more love. It doesn't matter who it is or what they're doing. I just think that if you can just help other people is a big deal. And I just think that I love people. I love being around people. I love helping people. This whole experience has been real humbling for me that I realized that, you know, I can make a difference, and I want to make a difference. And your vote for me, I will try to do my utter best. Like Autry said, sometimes we need to pump the brakes and just pause and quit making promises we can't keep. So I just, vote for me, and I'll do my best to listen and answer questions. I will call you back. Might not give you the answer you want, but I will call you back if you call me. So that's been a big hot topic for people saying to me. But I wish everybody luck. And tomorrow, 3 people are going to be happy and 4 people are going to be sad. So tomorrow's going to be a big day. But I appreciate all the support that I've gotten so far.
All right, Autry.
Yeah, I just like to say, April and Edward, thank you all for having us on there in the World Community Magazine. This is an honor to be on your forum, and it's always a great place. And I'm gonna not overpromise. if I'm going to work hard for the people of Conway. I think our words should matter in our community. There again, I'm gonna work hard that no matter where you live in Conway, no matter where you run a business in Conway or where you play in Conway, equal treatment, be fair to everyone as you possibly can. I'm going to call it like I see it. I'm not going to play pretty words, and I'm going there to do work.
All right.
I appreciate your vote tomorrow.
All right. And Danny.
Well, I would just like to say Beth and Autry, both have, said the same way I feel. And I think that's where Conway's the real winner. I will be 100% relieved tomorrow after 7 o'clock. I will be ecstatic.
You'll be stressed.
I don't even want anybody to tell me whether I've won or lost. I just want them to say it's 7 o'clock. But no, I know all the candidates. I just met Miss Butler, but I've known Beth a long times. I'm a whole lot older than Beth, but and I've known Autry for quite some time. William, Shane, and I grew up together. Julie, I've known her. I went to school with her brother, and I know all of them, and they're all genuine people. I think every candidate has Conway in mind. I really do. We might vary a little bit on issues and opinions, but I think that's what makes each one of us a good candidate. Naturally, like I told him the other day, I'm not necessarily trying to win. I'll be happy coming in third, but I think Conway's the real winner here, and I'm anxious to see what happens, but I'm also anxious to know that I can come home from work Wednesday afternoon and not have to go nowhere. So
Gotcha.
That'll be good.
All right. Well, Brother Edward, I'll let you have the final word.
Yeah, April. And you weren't there today, but in a compilation of all that has been said by our candidates, I think I was at the city council meeting today, and I think the mayor capped it off very, very well. She had a passionate and an humble plea to all concerned, especially the Whittemore Park situation with what we were discussing earlier about what to do with all our buildings there. And I'd like to just say that kudos to her. She did a fantastic job. She melted the tension that was there, and it was just well said. I was very impressed, and kudos to her, and kudos to the group, all of the groups who were very much interested in a resolution for this issue about the Whittemore Park middle school and the elementary school. So,
Mr. Edward, could I ask one question?
Yes.
Earlier when you started, you said there's 14,000 people that can vote tomorrow.
That's the information I got offline. There were 14.
Yeah, and I mean, I agree with you. I believe you. It's just I pulled up the last voting when it was just city council,
Right,
and only like 1,300 people voted. So I think that's sad right there. I think the city of Conway needs to get out and vote, no matter who you vote for.
right.
That's 10%. Let's get out and vote.
We need to show the state that we can do that. The state of South Carolina.
Yeah,
Okay.
participation. I agree.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, I don't know what it takes to impress upon everyone how important the local elections are, because usually when we have to deal with certain issues, the people or the residents of a particular city who have not participated, or maybe they did participate, they want to point to other issues as to why a certain candidate wasn't elected or a certain issue hasn't been handled or whatever the case is. And it's because, the value of the local vote, the local elections, putting the right candidates in during these local elections is not really there. It's devalued or undervalued in a lot of ways. And so I think that with just as much vigor and energy that people use to vote in national elections, they need to turn their sights and their energies to especially our local elections and also our state elections. So for those of you who are watching and who will eventually watch the rebroadcast of this show, make sure you understand that this election is pivotal. There is an opportunity here for there to be a shift in the diversity of the Conway City Council. There's an opportunity here to bring in some very new voices and new faces to the city council who have very real concerns that mirror a lot of the issues that are out there and a lot of the concerns and thoughts we have about those issues. And when I say we, you can't, like Beth said earlier, the elephant in the room was Whittemore Park. Well, the elephant in this room is the fact that this is a platform that targets the African-American community in the city of Conway, in Horry County, and surrounding areas. So we're speaking to our constituent. We're speaking to the people who look like us. And if you want to make a difference in this election, it behooves you to make sure that you're listening to all of the candidates and making an informed decision. And if any of these candidates tonight or any of the candidates in the past 2 weeks have said something that piques your interest or that actually moves your spirit to the point where you feel that they're going to do the best for our community when it comes down to the flooding issue, development, public safety, the Whittemore legacy issue, then make sure you show up to the polls tomorrow so that your voice is heard in the numbers. And so that's my spiel for the night, Brother Edward. I have totally enjoyed having these 3 candidates here with us this evening, really. And the other 2 candidates from the past couple of weeks. I wish you all luck. Like you said, Conway strong. I love Conway, South Carolina with all my heart. And I do believe that any of you who are elected will have the best interest. And, I love hearing, the talk about, South Conway and, that part of Conway and 9th Avenue corridor and Whittemore, because, to be real about this, that's where the Black community resides. But now we're all starting to kind of meld together now. And I think flooding has pushed us together, if, whether anybody wants to believe that or not. And so now it isn't just a white side or black side of Conway. It's just Conway, period. It's gray, it's Paisley, it's whatever you want to call it at this point. And so because of that reason, we all have to come together, work collaboratively, make sure that things are equal in all respects. And if it starts with this particular election, then, God bless everyone. So thank you all for being with us tonight. And thank you, Brother Edward, for pulling this show together. And I hope that if there are any other comments or whatever, of course, I just want you all to know that this particular show is available for rebroadcast. You can catch it on WCMagazine.net, and which also links to our YouTube channel. And it's always going to be posted on Facebook on the World Community Magazine's Facebook page. So thanks, everyone, for joining us. Thank you, Reggie Dyson, for your comment. Thank you, Sister Joella McQueen. And Brother Edward, you ready to take it on out?
Yeah, let's do it. They all had a lot of interesting things to say. And I'm just... impressed.
Well, you know what? We'll come back after whoever is elected. Bring them back.
Absolutely.
Thank you.
You all ready to do that? Once you get elected, you're ready to do that? You ready to come back?
Come back. Yeah.
Absolutely.
Okay. All right.
Thank you. God bless y'all.
All right, everybody. Take care.
Bye-bye.
All right.
Thank you for watching the World Community Magazine's Hour of Power Live on Facebook with your host Edward McQueen and April Garner.